Female opera singer goes to the doctors, you see, and he goes, ding, next please, and in she walks. He says, okay, what can I do for you all? She says, well, it's a little bit embarrassing, doctor. I said, don't worry, I'm a doctor, you know, I've seen everything. Well, she says, when I hit a high note and I fart loudly. He said, oh dear, that's a shame, isn't it? He said, well, you know, can you give us a demonstration of what's going on? So anyway, she starts singing and bloody hell, she's farting like anything. He said, oh dear. He said, well, I think the best thing you can do, he said, you'd have to strip off, he said, and lay on the examination couch. He said, and I'll have to sort of look into this further. So anyway, she strips off, lays on the examination couch, and there she is, sort of laying back. And he said, well, continues to sing, and she's singing away, and all that sort of stuff. And he said, oh, hang on, he said, excuse me one moment. So he walks out, and he comes back again. This long pole with a hook on the end. She said, doctor, you're not, are you? He said, no, he said, I'm going to open the windows. Are bleeding terrible smelling here. Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And tonight we've got, minus his camera, we've got Nathan Von Lucas.
Hello, everyone.
But he's actually live from a coal mine, and his neighbour went out. So here he is, Nathan Lucas. He forgot don't know where his camera is. Well, as you can see, the show started with a fart gag, and it's due to decline from now on. With even more fart gags. But we had got a great queuing chat tonight, and I know this is you notice the nerves. I'm shaking like a leaf now because we got the answers to Britain's finest traitor, who wins the Golden Lynching Awards. There it is. So first of all, let's have a look in chat. Oh, by the way, the winner of the gold, you know, the actual well, Britain's worst traitor gets a free, all expenses paid night in one of Britain's notorious jails, and next day they're actually treated. That's of course if they're still alive. To a free medieval bungee jumping. Now that medieval bungee jumping, you see, is where you put the rope. Well, you can do it two ways. You see, you can put the rope instead of the elasticating rope going around the feet, you go around the neck. You see, and it goes boing, boing, boing. It's much more fun because it goes, you see, and you actually have bets on how long they'll last bouncing. You see, no, actually, joking aside, I'm passionately against all forms of death sentences and capital punishment. I think that capital punishment should be strictly between consenting adults, don't you? So anyway, let's have a quick look in chat. And well, tonight Paul wins the award for the first one in at 8:13 a.m. this morning. Hi, I hope everyone is well. Looking forward to the show. We've got Kat, we've got Evening all. Hope everybody is well. Well, Nathan's got a bit of a cold, haven't you, Nathan?
Yeah, it's all right. It's not lasted as long as it could have done. Can you hear me all right, by the way?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. I think the lack of camera has made the sound better.
I don't have to subject you to my ugly mug, so that's all right.
Got Aunt Sally. Hello, Aunt Sally. And I do hope you're all nervous. There you are, biting your nails, wondering who the winner will be, you see. We've got Cat Holly. We must all be here for the early bird menu. That's right, yes. And well, actually, the winner gets free of charge, no expenses spared, a free raspberry blown at a politician of their choice. So, okay, Paul or Kat or anybody, you're all early birds. Please put a politician of your choice, and we'll do a free two-finger salute and raspberry blown at them. How's that? See, so we've got South Coast Richard. Hello, South Coast Richard. Good evening, all from the calm evening, a calm evening near Southampton. Sue Coe. Hello, Sue. Hello. And we've got Mark Anthony. Evening all. Hope you're all well. Now, for those of you that are on my Telegram channel. Oh, hang on. Wait, you got Chris the Gardener. Evening all. Looking forward to
Hi,
the
Chris.
show. Oh, by the way, I have an embarrassing problem, Chris. I can't say this on air with my potatoes. Could you advise? They're starting to sprout. I'm getting little eyes on my potatoes, which I got from Tesco's. Do you think I can plant them out now, or is it a bit too early? So, but don't tell anybody else. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Talking about potatoes. Anyway, on with the show. So it was. Here's the sort of. I could say okay. Here's the contenders. All right, and this was on my Telegram channel. And remember, why not join my Telegram channel? It's much more fun than my Facebook channel. Now here I've got all the contenders, and my hands are absolutely pouring with perspiration as I'm about to say this. Oh, hang on, hotline news. Bit early for Spuds, mate. He who dares. Good point. Good point. Right, we've got Cromwell. We've got Churchill. We've got Ted Heath, Thatcher, Tony Blair, Jimmy Savile, Sadiq Khan, and Rishi Sunak. But somebody said Sadiq Khan and Rishi Sunak cannot be charged with treason because they're not British. Good point. Good point. So I should actually have an envelope, shouldn't I? That you open and you sort of go and you say, and the winner is. Right, are we ready? Right, and it's a joint winner. And oh, by the way, to hold the tension here, Paul Green says, I think I will pick Tony Blair. Right, oh mate, here it comes, the free Tony Blair. There we go. That's 2-finger salute to Tony Blair. So how's that? Right, and here
it's
is
like a true professional, Chris.
Thank you very much. And here it is. Without further ado, the winner, joint winners, are Oliver Cromwell and Tony Blair, both at 35%. Churchill 6%. I'm really shocked at that.
And none for Thatcher.
None for Thatcher, no. And then Sadiq Khan 12%. Jimmy Savile 6%. That was Ben's suggestion. Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be leaders though, wasn't it? It's like it's world leaders or people committing treason. I mean, he was a horrible satanic. Yeah,
arsehole.
Yeah, well, I've got to be careful what to say because obviously the YouTube censors will be.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, but also I did another poll. There was another poll on YouTube. Sorry, on the Facebook. Not Facebook, bloody Telegram. I'll get there in a minute. Oh, in that poll, I voted Oliver. So did I, Aunt Sally. I did Oliver Cromwell because he was the one that brought usury back. See, it was a bit of a toss up between Churchill and Cromwell. I don't know, But anyway, I chose Cromwell.
Actually,
as well.
Chris, can I just ask, how many people took part in the poll?
15. Not many.
Okay.
But I've got about 82 members on Telegram. But I think they're a bit worried actually. Now hang on. We got here people rolling up here. Savile was my pick, Chris, not Ben's. I stand by my decision. Oh, sorry, mate. Terribly sorry. Yes, it was yours. Right, okay. Right, and now I said the worst traitor of the 20th and 21st century, and this is how the winners came out. It was Churchill overall 60% and Tony Blair 33%, with Edward Heath 13%. Amazing. And Thatcher got nothing. Amazing.
Incredible. I mean, she was very unpopular, but
yeah,
in terms of being a traitor, I mean, she was a traitor to her own people for what she did to the economy alone. But there you go. That's just my opinion.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But that's quite. So, any suggestions for next week's poll? Because we're going to have a poll every week, and you go on a Telegram, and you see how it goes. Because you see, I don't know, it might have Britain's worst paedophile, or I don't know really. That could be if they're still alive. That could be. bit worrying, couldn't it?
You could have a really bizarre poll of your favorite villains in terms of the New World Order. You could say that your favorite. I don't know. Uncle Klaus would be mine, for example, because he's
Oh,
just such
yes.
an archetypal villain. You know.
Well, he is, isn't he? I don't know whether it'd be him or that evil geezer when he was promoting the old in America.
Hmm.
Yes, but we've got here some very interesting comments. Um, I didn't see the second poll, but would have voted for Churchill. That's Aunt Sally. So there we go.
I'd
And
have still gone for Blair.
we got New Wilters. Now I don't think you've ever met Maureen. Have you? Have you, Nathan?
Yeah, I was down.
I'm joking.
I was there. I was going to say, yeah. Well, there was a fantastic guy talking in Truth Seekers last Wednesday. He did a really, really good presentation. It just turns out it was me, of all people. There you go. No, it was
Really?
it was a good turnout actually. I really enjoyed that one. And then I got ill. Yeah.
What did you talk about?
Well, I've got. I'll see if I can pull the present. Well, I can pull the presentation up. I don't know whether I'll be able to upload it. It was basically looking at. I've termed it the 7 deadly mindsets that specifically occur in the, let's say, truther circles or truther community. Looking at just exactly what's wrong with our thinking and why we're not moving anywhere, why we're not achieving anything. And it also ties that into psyops, how psyops are used against people, how, what kind of psychology they use against people, and it's very, very effective.
Well,
So,
it's because people are probably wondering. They're saying, "Hang on, let's get this off the screen." Sure, here we go. Here we are, and probably thinking, "What the bloody hell does W.P.I.W mean?" Well, what it means is wolf pack idol worship. So you got the wolf pack mind, and it's idol worship. And what we mean by that, not bone idol, as in lazy, but really talking about people that look for an idol to, lead them somewhere. They want a leader that's going to lead them. Well, my attitude is, if you want to find a leader, look in the mirror. That leader will be looking straight back at you.
yeah.
Because I don't believe in government. I don't believe in democracy. I don't believe any of that crap, because I think that governments, well, they're a waste of time anyway, but civil servants run the country, not governments.
Well, they ruined the country. I mean, I don't know about running it. Run it into the
Yeah,
ground.
I mean, when you look at it, things now. I mean, I wrote an article, plug on Telegram, so please join my Telegram channel, which I wouldn't be allowed to put on Facebook. You can get away with a lot more on Telegram than you can on Facebook.
No, for now.
Well, for now, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that the bloke who discovered or founded Telegram was seen at the World Economic Forum. So need I say more? But the point I'm actually getting at is that people look for someone an idol or a leader. World War II, Churchill, Winnie, a drunken bum, as the Prime Minister of Canada described him, and seriously, and a bloke that most of his speeches allegedly were done by other people, by actors. And according to one person, Tommy Steele's father did the voiceovers, sort of, we will shag them on the beaches. We will shag them in the fields. Yes, we'll have nothing but sex maniacs everywhere, and that sort of stuff, Oh, hang on, we got Louise in chat. Oh, and who's this geezer? Thanks, Maureen, much appreciated. Oh, that's Nathan. Hello, Nathan. Right, here we go. That's you. Hello, everyone. I don't have Telegram. Well, it's free, but wouldn't have voted for any of the above. It's difficult to separate one traitor from another. But I suppose the royals must be at the top. Good point. But remember, even if you don't not on Telegram,
Yeah, there's not many left now.
always make suggestions for the next poll, you see. And we got here, Yoo-hoo. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Nathan. Casbar. And all the way from New Zealand, with no expenses spared, we've got Stig. Morning, all. Where New Zealand, I think you're just coming into your autumn now, aren't you? As we're just coming into our spring.
Nice.
Right. I thought I'd just put a little dig in, you know. Depends on what part of New Zealand you're in. Are you on North Island or South Island? Or Wellington, which got the boot? And, you know, or... mind you, I had a relative that lived in New Zealand. Never met her, but she went there. And she met her husband on the ship going there. She left Great Britain after the war. And she was single, and there was a single bloke on there, and they married when they got there. Oh, hang on, Stig's come back. Ah, you're civilized then. Yes, you're on North Island. Yes. Yes, we won't mention anything about the South Island, the jokes about sheep, will we? No, we definitely won't.
You're going for it today, aren't you, Eric?
Yes, South Island, where the men are men and the sheep are nervous.
I like that.
Sorry, Stig. Right, now back to
You've made the New Zealanders nervous now.
That's right. hang on. We got a plug. We got a plug here. We got Maureen says next Wednesday, 28th of February, we've got the wonderful Andrew Johnson. Yeah. He's good, Andrew. Yeah. So yes, and just say there's a vacancy here as well if he wants to come on the show. You know, if you could just sort of, you know, give a little nudge to him and say, "Oh, Eric Von Essex show." You know, you were a bit overdue going on there. But,
you need one of those little cat bells, you know, ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Or an animal prod. Oh, you know.
I could use one of those in my daily life, you know. I might get arrested though after a day.
But now the thing is, what we're talking about is if we say a miracle happened and I don't know, a little fairy came down and went ding, we're going to grant civilization several wishes. And we say, right, okay, going to do away with governments. Well, first of all, we're going to the use scammers. You know, we're going to do away with that. USURY. So that'll be the banking families. I didn't say that out loud because it's very rude. So that'll be them gone. And of course, without them, you wouldn't need their city governments. Then you'd have a lean, mean civil service who would be fully accountable for us. And also, we would also have a do away with local council, and of course the council tax of which is a contract. And I won't go into that, but I guess everybody that's watching the show knows that it's illegal anyway. And by paying it, you're actually you're doing something illegal by paying it. But I won't go into all those details and that because that's for another show. I'm hoping to get a so-called expert on who will talk about that in the near future.
One of the things I was going to say, Chris, is that I'm hearing a lot of stories about a change in the law with regards to council tax. Yeah. That they're now just basically passing sentence without giving you a say. So, no. But then I'm hearing counter arguments to say that you don't have to pay it, and there's no legal premise for it, and the council have accepted that as well. So it's one of those things that I'd like to find out from somebody who knows what the hell's going on, because you know it's all right taking all these different accounts from people, but it doesn't get us any closer to the truth, does it? Really?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not in law or anything like that, and I'm not giving any advice or anything like that. But the way I see it, and I could be totally wrong, is that the worst thing you could do is to just point blank refuse. What you do, you ask questions, and you just keep asking questions all the time. So I want to pay it, but you need to answer this question first. You need to answer that question first, because all local councils are like private companies. They've actually got a registration number from Dun and Bradstreet, apparently. So they're like they are a separate trading company, which means that they've got about as much right to put a council tax demand through your letterbox as the local supermarket has for
Would
goods
you
that you
not
haven't
apply
had.
that sort of tax?
Yes, but again, I'm not a legal person. That is my view. Because very rich people pay their very well-off accountants to tell the government accountants in the civil service what they already know, and it's voluntary because rich people don't pay tax. It's only poor people that pay tax, not rich people. And senior MPs don't pay it either because it's against their religion, I believe. But no, seriously.
Interesting. Who
Well,
don't pay it?
the rich don't pay tax. And
I'm sure you said somebody else after that.
Senior MPs,
Huh.
lots of them.
So the only people who can really afford to pay taxes are the people who don't pay it. It makes wonderful sense, doesn't it?
Oh, marvelous sense, marvelous sense. But when you come to think about it, I mean, I saw an estimate the other day, and this is only a very rough rule of thumb, that if you did away with the local council and people employed bin men to come round and empty their bins, and of course, if they didn't empty their bins properly and left a load of crap all over the ground, as they do around where I live, then they would say, right, that's the last time you're emptying our bins, and we're getting someone that knows what they're doing in. So goodbye. And a teacher. They got people paid to have teachers teach their children, and if those teachers taught their children about it's perfectly okay to for a bloke to wear a dress and things like that, then that teacher would be kicked out on their ass quicker than they'll be out that door quicker than a grouse with a rocket up his bum. So people wouldn't stand for it. That's it. And that person will find themselves very, very unemployable and unemployed. And I think that the estimate was, and this is just a rough estimate, because on a more densely populated area, it would be less, I wouldn't call it tax, but shall we say a fee, than a sparsely populated area. And the average would be about £5 a month. Sorry, £30 a month. Sorry, I got that wrong. £30 a month. And in the high density population, it'd be about £5 a month. And you would get first class services for that. Because you think each household around where you live, you think how much they pay now. They pay about £2,000, £3,000 council tax a year. You times that by 50, 60, 70 in one road. It's a phenomenal amount of money. And
it can't go where they say it's going either, because it's just they're always adding more to it anyway. I mean, let's say the public transport system, roads and railway lines and things like that, they always make them private enterprises anyway, and you still got to pay for them.
Well, that's it. But you think about it. I mean, look at roads. What annoys me is when they put all these loose chippings down and the cars roll them down. Well, they used to have a road roll. They don't have that. So the bottom of your car is getting grip blasted.
Yeah.
They don't worry about that. And it's dangerous because I've walked along the side of the road and I've had a stone go just past my nose, It's disgusting, and they bodge it up. Whereas, if you got it done properly, I mean, what happened in Argentina, I think, is 1990 when they went bust. People started taking things into their own hands, and someone went along in one place with some bolt cutters, cut the bolts to the local council yard, and they got the road rollers out and started fixing their own roads outside their houses, and things started to work because people took things into their own hands. And
I suspect if people were left, let's say, unmanipulated by certain forces, that we would get a hell of a lot more done. But of course, to me, everything that's happening in the world at the minute is deliberately designed to run us into the ground, because then they can do the whole order out of chaos and reinsert their control system in full. So unfortunately, we seem to be watching the downfall of everything at the minute.
Well, this is what they want. I mean, the things are what we're going to be getting onto a little bit later. I mean, we've gone off at a tangent here, but the fact is, the big problem, if we had this system now where people are not responsible enough because we've been conditioned from birth and for generations that you have to have a leader.
Yes.
And in tribal societies that are hierarchical, where you have leaders and that, are the most aggressive. They are the most, they're very almost savagery. Whereas the ones that are not, where they respect their elders, so that if they've got a problem, they go to their elders who are more wise and understand it, and they don't have a hierarchy system, or the only one that is really is their elders, they're very peaceful, and they're more advanced in the way they think. They're more akin to, that their ear is more closer to the ground, so to speak. But the thing is that if we introduce a system now where people became responsible, because we've got this mindset of looking for a leader, what you would have is a core of psychos, egotists, and complete assholes who would then start bullying everybody else around, and we go back to the stage where we are now, where you would have a small clique of people that are saying, we'll have this, we'll do that, we'll do this, and bullying people around. So it would take several generations of re-education to have a system where you don't have, where people are free to think for themselves. I mean, this is why communists always go for the farmers, because farmers have to think for themselves. They're more individualistic. So all communist systems always go for the farmers. Mao did and caused mass starvation. Stalin did, caused mass starvation, and this is what they're doing now.
And it's deadly effective. I mean, it's like, I can't remember who said it. Was it Rockefeller? That if you control the food supply, you control the people, because if they want to eat, if they want to survive, then that's their base instinct level, and so you've brought them down to a basic level of survival, as opposed to let's say cerebral production, or mental evolution, or pushing society in a positive direction. You hold them back constantly, and I wonder, with the way that they've got humanity programmed at the minute, just how long it would take to untangle the human mind on a societal level, because my God, they've done a number on us, all of us.
Well, they have. It would take, I think, I mean, I could take a figure off the top of my head, but it would take several generations, I think, to gradually sort of take this programming away from us. But for example, now going back into chat, we were talking about councils. It's all under UCC coding. This is Louise Wilcox. Know your commercial law. If you are paying for any service and you're not satisfied, then you have no obligation to pay for it.
I've not found that to be true. I mean, I understand where this is coming from. Obviously, there's a lot of common law movements. There's a lot of confusion between legal and lawful. A lot of it goes back thousands of years. I get it, and I don't dispute all of it. What I'm saying in terms of this is, when you're fighting it in a court, I'm not seeing any victories. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of people going into trouble for not paying council tax, not paying bills, not paying parking fines. And I know people personally that have done this, and credit to them, absolute credit to them for standing the ground and going that far. But they're getting into a lot of trouble. And so until we can, and this is what I said at my talk the other day, until such a time as we can unify and forget our petty squabbles and all the little independent ways of looking at this, what we need to do is just gather together and say, look, we don't agree with that. We're not doing that collectively until you give us what we want, because until that time, I don't see much changing at all, actually. Unfortunately, that's not negativity. It's common sense. I'm just looking at the world around me and coming to a rational conclusion.
I agree with you. And I mean, there's another one here. It says there are a lot of grifters telling folk not to pay their council tax.
Yes. Yeah.
Thing is, there are a few grifters working for those who want to evict you, and they are all over social media waiting for mugs. Very, very good point there, Kat. Excellent point. Excellent. You don't know. I mean, I saw something today, and again, it's on my Telegram channel, plug, which is not on my Facebook channel, that they found that, how can I put this carefully, that the Scotch, their origins are with the same people in a country we're not allowed to criticise. And somebody's come back with a fantastic comment, and they said, this is fake. And what it is put out to, shall we say, muddy the waters. The Scotch haven't got a link apparently.
When you're saying Scotch, you're on about the Scots, like the Scottish.
Scots, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
so it's my understanding that they were originally known as the Scots or the Scota, and they come from Ireland originally, and they vanquished the previous people that were in Scotland at the time, which were the Picts. So that's my understanding of it from what I've looked into.
That's
So
my understanding.
yeah,
Yours is more better than mine with that. But the thing is that what the historian's saying, I think it's the Campbells and something else, linked up with a tribe from the Middle East, shall we say.
right.
I don't know too much about it. I'm going into the areas there, but apparently it's a bit bogus, and it's a muddy in the water one.
Do you
So
know what? You mentioned muddy in the waters there. This is what I'm noticing more than anything at the minute. We see if you stand back and look at things
mm,
from a distant, not distant, maybe let's say from a higher perspective. They're expertly doing this everywhere. They're muddying the waters with everything, and then of course
mm,
when they censor people, you're blocking the truth from having a free flow. And I mean, yeah, okay, you're blocking certain narratives, but some of them, in my opinion, need blocking anyway. Um, but not that I agree with censorship, but they've done this for a very, very, very long time, and they're always pouring poison into the pond, if you want to look at it that way, and it's
yes,
becoming toxic.
there's a picture. It's on my Facebook. This is Fock and Paul Radio. No, I think it's
That's
just Fock and Paul.
fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got off on a tangent. Yes, I know my website is for. I think it's been cyber attacked, and you
Oh,
can't. The links have all been destroyed. I've got to go through it and redo it. Sorry, folks, but
hmm.
you can get onto some of the links, but some of them are. I think somebody's been chewing at it. It looks like the cat's been chewing at it, or something's been happened. But anyway, I was going to say on my Facebook page, there's a picture of Keir Starmer. Now, I cannot stand that man. I mean, if I see a picture of him, I need to get the sick bucket pretty quick.
Yeah, you can always put him on a dartboard.
He could do, yes, yes. Or give him that free, bungee jumping around the neck.
Well, you can't. No, see, now that would no. You've got to be careful of that because that's advocating, isn't it? So
Yes.
we're advocating that as a sport that
Sport,
potentially
yes.
could go
Sport.
wrong, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's all we're saying.
I'd
Yeah.
have a safety collar around his neck, of course.
Yes.
So,
Yes. It's for his own good.
yes.
He'll be
But
happy. I mean,
okay, I'm joking, folks, because I'm totally against all form of capital punishment. So anyway, I was going to say, there's a picture of him sitting in a lounge area next to Jimmy Savile, and it says the media see this before that they take it down,
Hmm.
but the real photograph is somebody else, and somebody has put Jimmy Savile's face over this character, and I think it's 77 Brigade or somebody like that has done that so they can bring laws out saying, look the way they've tarnished
More
this
fake
man.
news, right?
It's fake news.
Yeah. So
And
once again, but people will jump on that and they'll take it without looking at it or without even second guessing it and doing a little bit of investigation. I mean, oftentimes you don't even need to do that much research. You just need to do a little bit of digging and you'll find the truth. But especially in the truth movement, so called, they will take this information and run with it. And the next thing, it's
oh,
been thrown back at us like it's been weaponized, and
well,
it's effective.
you're right. Several of us. I was going to come onto that bit, Nathan. Shall we go through a little bit more chat,
Yeah,
and then we come back to that because you've had
yeah.
experiences and I've had experiences, and that's now we've got here. They quote common law, but common law is totally infiltrated. That's interesting. And
I agree with that. Just sorry to interrupt there, Chris.
yeah,
I absolutely agree with that.
mm,
Everything that's in there. I've got a book, and it's called Word Magic by a guy called Pao Chang or Pao Cheng. Anyway,
oh,
um, it's a decent sized book, and it goes into the origins of spelling of words, of the etymology of things, and it links it into common law, as in the real common law that we had through the ages, which has been slowly replaced with merchant law, admiralty law, whatever you want to identify it as. And so there is definitely a lot of truth to this, but unfortunately, the current system doesn't recognize it. And so when we have, we've got a lot of people in the movement saying different things about the common law. How to deal with it, how to do this, what's really law, what's legal, what it affects is it's telling me is that, well, it's one law for you and a different law for you and a different law for you, and yeah, this works. It doesn't work like that. It never has worked like that. So it has been absolutely infiltrated, and it's been used against us. And of course, the end result makes truthers, so-called, look like a bunch of idiots. And then they pin us with a tinfoil hat, and there you go, ta-da, the job's done.
That's it. I mean, what is it? Common law, God's law, isn't it? It comes from basically, and I think that common law applies almost every country in the world, even North Korea. Common law, no injury, loss, or harm.
It is. I mean, it's basic natural law. Yeah, you're right. But when you have a bunch of psychopathic social engineers in power that rather enjoy it, and they've got all the money, which means that they've got all the tools and the media and the influence, yeah, you can't really go up against that, especially when you're fighting it on your own. The thing that we have in this, again, community movement, whatever you want to refer to it as, is all these little independent people all across the country are saying, right, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to pay my council tax. I'm not going to pay this, that, and the other bill, without really looking into the legal system. I get it. They want the lawfulness of common law and God's law and all this. That's fine. That's what I would like, but that's not what we have.
Well, I think we called them the barrack room lawyers, because a lot of barrack room lawyers out there. So I'm not going to do this. All this, who think they know everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is the big problem. These barrack room lawyers, and the fact is, when you're up against, say, that's the establishment. When you're up against it, you're trying to do that. It won't do it, because you're up against an immovable force. The thing to do is ideological counter subversion. You do what they do. You subvert them. You get it back to them. That's the real fact of the matter.
Yeah.
It's like the punch that's hitting you. No, you don't stop it. It's a stupid thing to do, to try and stop a punch. No, you help it along. You guide it along, and you ram it straight into the wall. But you help it. And this is the thing. And I think Paul England said a marvelous one. He said about this airport security. He said, this is a classic, and he said, why don't you have a T-shirt with "I insist everyone, including airport security and cabin staff, have an anal probe before every flight." So how do you know that the airport security bloke or woman is not a terrorist? See, so you'd have to see it on camera, them having a hose pipe shoved to make sure they've got nothing hidden up there, because you don't know.
That's true.
So what it is, again, that's counter subversion. You're pulling it forward. You're actually going along with it. You're helping them. So,
Effectively, it's using its own strength against it, isn't it? In a way.
Yeah. We want
sorry, Chris. I would have argued that instead of going along with common law and losing, which seems to be what's happening, if you really want to get into this and use their own knowledge against them, it's the way I like to say it to people is it's their chessboard, right? So if you're playing drafts on a chessboard, the game's not going to work. They're going to kick you out, and they're going to replace you with somebody else. If you learn to play chess, the more you practice it, the better you become. And at the minute, it's their chessboard. So
spot on.
There you go. That's another analogy for you.
That's brilliant. Now we've got Chris the Gardener. Hello, mate. And it goes on that. This is the regarding council tax. Yes, you're spot on. And I did hear. Now I haven't researched this. I don't know how true it is. Somebody told me that 10% goes to the military. Now I don't know how true that is. Don't ask me for the evidence because I haven't got it. But that's what I heard. It might be hearsay, but that's what I heard. 10% of your council tax goes to the military. But
yeah, okay. I'm wondering by that, presumably, does that mean the TA, the Territorial Army, then, the reserves?
That I've just repeated it like a parrot, what I was told. So I don't know any more than that. I'm trying to find some more information about it.
Interesting to find out where it is really going, all of it.
Well, when you look into your local council, as I've done, I found out my local council runs 2 businesses that nobody's heard of. And the executive, I thought it was a bit strange that the senior poncho at my local council was an executive, and not an officer, because if you're a civil service servant, you're an officer. And I thought he was a civil servant, but he isn't. He's also the director of 2 other companies that are run by the council. So why isn't he a part-time director? Why is he executive rather? Why is he? Why don't they tell you that he's a part-time executive?
Well, again,
Because
I mean, sorry to interrupt again, but we see this in mainstream politics. We see it in Parliament. This is a conflict of interest. If
correct.
they want to be in it for personal gain, then they can't be representing the people because the two are mutant. You know, they're mutually exclusive. They can't. They can't. It's the whole you can't serve two masters, isn't it? Really,
Well,
in a way.
this is the thing, you see. I've had this. I've tried to help this neighbour of mine who's got this problem with a fence, and there's her fence,
Hmm.
then there's a space, and then there's another fence. Now, in the space, there's a difference between private land and public land. It is public land, so it comes under the jurisdiction of an authority of some form. And of course, they built this brick wall. It's a bit difficult to explain. They've got this dwarf wall and a gap of about that much between the dwarf wall of my neighbour's fence. So it's an accident waiting to happen. Somebody going along there, look, their foot going down it, getting stuck, child getting trapped down there, and things like that. And I sent to the council, and they said that it doesn't come under their jurisdiction because they didn't
All
look at
right.
the drawings. So I asked them to confirm it so that they can be done for negligence if anything happens. And the chief executive didn't write back to me. He wrote via a local councillor. I sent him an official letter, and he comes back with this scrappy little email that just says it's nothing to do with health and safety, their health and safety. So I've got it in writing. So if an accident happens, ding, and I hope an accident never happens. But you know, you've got to, and the other thing is they don't know how to read drawings. I sent him drawings. I didn't read them. And he said,
I can imagine.
what the local, what this building developer has suggested, they've suggested putting cladding on the outside of this timber fence, which will make the gap even shorter, will improve the look of it. He hasn't looked at the drawings.
See what you're doing there, Chris, is you're sending a fuck 'em all officer to go and meet a council officer, and I think that's level ground. That
Yeah, why not? Fuck them all. Now,
come on,
Louise,
indeed, Chris.
actually, I'm wondering whether to sort of give myself a Ponzi title, because I'm bullshit
You do need
title
one.
now. I was a doctor this morning, then I was a professor in the middle day. Well, I might as well become His Royal Highness this evening. Put that on it. Was it? I'm bullshit title fluid. So
I like
anyway,
that. I mean, it's clearly an administrative position that you've got to get your head around. But I think I'll be well. Again, I commissioned myself to be the Lord and God of all offence. So,
excellent. Right.
but not fences.
That's right. Well, you might take offence, or you could take a gate. You never know. It's entirely whether you get the hinges off, isn't it? Anyway, we have the power to remove these corporations from the control we gave them. Correct. And
But do you know what? That's true if we band together in a unified collective.
but the thing is, they've conditioned us to be part of a community of their control
Yeah.
that has a leader. But you see, the Yellow Vests, when they first started in France, were incredibly successful because they didn't have a leader. And the government wanted to speak with them, but there was no leader. So who could they speak with? Because, I mean, I'll tell you who was an incredible army. The Boers. The Boers fought against the British in the Boer War, and they kept going for about 3 years. And the reason why, they didn't have any
Central command kind of thing.
no, well, there was a sort of command, but the attitude was, "Oh, we're just going to go on a riding party." I can't speak Boer, I think that's speak Boer, isn't it? I think we're going to go on a riding party tomorrow
That's quite
night.
good, actually.
Do you want to come? Nah, I'm busy feeding the pigs tomorrow night. I'll come on the next one. And it was a bit like that. And mates got together. And that's how they formed sort of units. But there wasn't really any general overall leader. and it works. It's bloody brilliant. And they're and the only way the British could defeat them was to actually put people into concentration camps and take all their farms away from them. A scorched earth policy, and that's how they beat the Boers. But the Boers were a really formidable force, and they really stood up to the British. But but anyway, do you like my bit of South African? It's a bit flat, isn't it?
I think it's quite good, actually. I can never really get away with a South African accent. I can take it a little bit, and then it just falls to bits. It turns into Irish, and then it descends even further. I think it goes into Welsh accent at some point, but I'm not even going to try it.
I worked with a bloke who was from Zimbabwe. We used to really wind the poor sod up. And he said, "Oh, you're I can't remember. I think his name was George. You're from Zimbabwe." "I'm from bloody Rhodesia. I'm not from Zimbabwe." and there's something about his accent. Excuse my language. We all used to piss ourselves laughing with. And there was two words that would trigger it off. One is bicycle, and the other one was hippo. And one day he said, "I went on my bicycle and I saw a hippo." And we were pissing ourselves laughing. But it's not funny, is it? I don't know why we would laugh. "You taking the piss out of me?" but it's something about that sort of word, bicycle and hippo. I don't know what.
Do you know what the worst thing about that is? It sounds like it's a West Midlands accent when you. There's a little bit of a hippo in there.
But the other one we worked with, a bloke from Texas, an American, and it was we had a problem with the project. "You're going to send them." Poor sod. We used to really rag him. He used to say, "You're going to send a posse out to find out what the problem is." One morning in a meeting, we're all a bit fed up. We all decided to adopt terrible American accent. "Hi, George. How you going? I can't do an American accent. "You taking the piss out of me?" Yeah. We all took it in good. I mean, that again, you wouldn't get away with it now, but we did it. We all had a good sense of humor. We was all laughing, and he used to laugh along with us. So that too.
You can't get away with anything these days, so that's
Well, he came over with the American Air Force to Chicksands, and he met an English woman, and they fell in love. They married, and he stayed in England. And we said, "Oh, you poor sod." We're doing over here.
Did nobody warn him first? Did they not give him? Was there no disclaimers going up?
The other one we wound him up with, "We helped you during World War II, didn't we?" "What do you mean about it?"
Well, didn't you know the Americans totally had it all in hand and did all the hard work? Apparently.
Yeah. Well, allegedly.
Yeah.
Right. We got here. Freemasons get the contract to fix the roads. No incentive to do a decent job. They charge a fortune only to come back and do it all again. Yet this is. Do you know the road? I've got. It's like a lane around the back of where I live. Sort of a roadie lane, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know what a roadie lane is, but you know what I mean.
A
Fock'em one. And it's been dug up and put down about 5 times in the last 2 years. They keep digging it up for some unknown reason,
Maybe they're just not satisfied with it. Maybe you got a perfectionist on that particular job, and you just can't quite get it right.
No.
I mean, the money obviously helps, but it's nothing to do with the money, right?
Well, there's a brook around at the top. I live on a hill, and they will not dredge this brook. So when it wee-wees with rain, the drains go bang and all explode, and it's like Niagara Falls coming down the road, the back of my house.
Oof.
I mean, I'm all right. I'm on top of the hill, but and since I've lived here, they've never solved the problem because they do not clean these sort of like gullies and things out. They just leave it, And now we got here, Hatchy is going to get a lot worse.
Oh, great! An injection of positivity, just what we are definitely needing.
Do you know, I feel much better now. I've given up all hope.
If you've given up all hope, you've got nothing to lose, have you?
That's right. Was it? Remember that Tommy Cooper song? "Don't jump off the roof, Dad."
Not familiar with that one.
Oh yeah, if you go on YouTube, put Tommy Cooper "Don't Jump Off the Roof, Dad." It's quite funny actually. There's a poor sod trying to commit suicide. They said, "Don't jump off the roof. You get my mother's just planted petunias, and you can smash them." But Cat Holly
That's
has
right.
said,
Send him to his death with a guilty conscience. I got it.
"That's it, guilt complex." But anyone can be near TV. Best thing I did all those years ago. Same here. Same here. I don't know about you, Kat, but I've found I've become I'm a snob. I used to say I'm not a snob. I am a snob. I can't actually stomach the BBC. The last time I saw it was when I was in the bank, and they had this bloody great television screen up with News 24, and your eyes are naturally drawn towards it. It's horrible. It's just childish. It's awful, And the idea, Mark Anthony, when the show you did with John Hamer on electric cars will be up on Rumble. Well, I got a message from John today. It's about time to put. Actually, I've got a note here from my parents. I've been very busy this week.
This sounds interesting.
And my computer went boom. The bloody hard disk blew up. The graphics card went tits up. And I think the actual motherboard gave up all hope. So I've had to replace all that, and I've been rebuilding. And that is the reason I have not put it up on Rumble. Am I forgiven? But I'm hoping to get it up. The thing. Sorry, this sounds disgusting. Let's reword this.
Get the thing up, right? Got you.
Yes, I'm trying to get it up and within the next few days. Okay. So thanks, Mark Anthony. You've given me a swift kick up the bum, and I think John's going to ask that question. So I'm going to have a chinwag with him tomorrow on the phone. So, and I think he's going to say, "Where the heck is that?" The external combustion engine, the name of the show is, but only on Rumble. Only on Rumble.
I like that. I like what you've done there.
And all good media except bleeding YouTube. Where are we now? Now let's have a look here. It says here, "Hi Louise, good here. I'm loving the mild weather. We should sort out a meet at some point, my lovely. I've got Chris coming to Norfolk in the summer." That's right. I've got my piece of hay to put in my mouth, and I've got my straw hat as well. So poor old Chris had bloody cheek.
Well, you'll have to do a live stream with all of you having a meetup as well. You'll have to like a round table. You have to have a round table.
Also, they can see my car that I'm going to sleep in the back of as well.
Is that my choice?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I don't like hotels and things like that. I like sleeping in the back of the car. No, but I've got a Carina, and it's big enough for a bed at the back. So it's a sort of I can turn it into a camper and then turn it back again to a 4-seat car. So that's what I'm going to go up there in. And it's a 1989 one, so it's getting on a bit. My old Carina goes like the clappers. So there we go. And why is Nathan invisible? I don't know why.
I'm shy.
Well, his camera is somewhere.
Yeah. So it's all right. It's not permanent. Well, it is for this show, but it's I'll be back on the screen before long.
That's right. But now
I did. Sorry, just to interrupt there. I did try and upload a picture, but it wants the whole presentation, and I don't know if that'll interfere with the stream, so I've not done it. So it's just gonna have to be a fancy StreamYard screen at the minute, But I wish I was invisible sometimes. God, can you imagine what you can get away with if you're invisible? I mean, you'd have to be naked, apparently.
Well, the thing is, I think there's two situations in life. There's the beam me up, Scotty one, and the ejector seat one. In situations, like for example, if you see somebody you're trying to avoid, that is a beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
But if you're cornered in a room and you're in a kangaroo court, that is an ejector seat one. But
you watch too much Batman and Robin.
Sorry,
you've watched too much Batman and Robin.
Well, do you know the beginning of this well-known rhyme?
Go on.
Okay. Cock Robin.
Not a clue.
Anybody in the audience? Do you know the beginning of this well-known rhyme, Cock Robin?
Come on then.
It's, gee, what's this up my arse, Batman? I know it's more
You're gonna have the fact checkers looking for a reason to take that one off you.
Oh, but I reckon the old klaxons are going off at YouTube HQ now. And greetings from Donegal. Hello, QI 11. Did you get Batman and Robin in Donegal? You might have done.
Their Father Ted, which was just as good.
Yes.
I used to love that, actually.
Oh, the bloke in that were really good. He's dead now, isn't he?
I think they all are, apart from the guy who played Dougal.
Yeah.
The Father Jack, my God, the stuff that he came out with, even now, it has me in creases, and I must have seen him over and over again. But some of the stuff that Father Jack comes out with, we're gonna have to do a couple of intros with Father Jack. He can't because of the bloody copyright. Yeah.
But actually, I think that I've been trying to practice Tony Blair all day because I was going to, but I didn't run.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, the reason why, you see, he was a joint winner, I was going to sort of have a picture of a pile of dog poo. It's a great honor for me to accept this award with Sheena. Right. It says here's a Salo. It says here's a reason for 40 years in the wilderness. Yes. And
I've been looking into this recently. That's quite synchronistic for the information I've been looking into.
Yes. Think about it.
Another time.
Hebrides, rumour is Jerusalem, was Edinburgh in days gone by. Think that comes from Connors Beaumont.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I mean, Robert Newman, great mate of mine, he sadly he's passed away. He's no longer with us. He was half Scottish. And he looked into, I'm going to upset loads of people from Scotland there. He looked into the origin of tartan to the Netherlands.
Really?
They imported it over, according to him, in the 18th century, and they wanted to increase tourism.
Right.
So that's quite interesting, because the kilt originally was a thing that wrapped round you, wasn't it? It wasn't like the Victorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, for both tartan and the kilt, I've heard that they both came from Rome. I don't know how, but
well, the Egyptians also. You think about it, they had the kilt. But out of all national costumes, I think the kilt has to be the worst. I would not want to wear. Billy Connolly can't wear a kilt. He doesn't like wearing one. He had to act the part, and he said he just didn't like wearing it. I just don't like kilts.
So I don't mind them. I think they're all right. I think it's an interesting cultural thing. I've got no problem with it. I think it can look really good, actually.
Nothing sort of personal, but you think us English, we don't have a national costume. Well, we do actually. It's Saxon. We do have a national costume, but they don't show it. But we do actually have a national costume, and
It's nothing to do with the maypole dances, is it? Nothing like that.
No. It's just a good one, Kit Kat. Right. Shall we? Hang on. We just have a quick jump here just to read three others out.
Okay. Well, that profile pic there, that looks like me as soon as I wake up in the morning. I'm the wild man Enkidu, and I'm coming into the world.
Mind you, since I've got this Earth map, I've been having some bloody weird dreams. I can tell you. You're dreaming Technicolor when you've got those bloody things on. Yeah. Everything at every level is being chipped away at all by design. I agree with you. And then we've got, and that's Hatchy. Then we've got too many infiltrators. This is Louise Wilcox, stirring the sludge at the bottom, but trust your gut when it comes to what to believe and what not to believe. Do your own research. Don't trust someone else's word above your own. Absolutely spot on. And what is it?
I like the way that opens as well. I like the way she's opened that. Too many infiltrators stirring the sludge. That needs to be copyrighted. I like that.
That's brilliant. And my granddad used to say, watch out for the infiltrators. And I thought, what the bloody hell's he on about? Well, not exactly. words because I was a little boy and I didn't swear. And what have my granddad done about? And it was only when I got older I realised what it was, because he used to be a member of the Labour Party and he saw it being infiltrated in the 1920s, 30s. And we've got Robert. Hello, mate. Louise made a very good point regarding the use of UCC. Much like martial arts, using one's opponent to beat them, themselves using their own power is, after all, what they've been doing to us. You're spot on. You're spot on. And what gets me is they put us into little groups. You know, they're obsessed with putting us into little groups.
Yeah.
That's it. We're all this, and we're all that, and we're all this. I like to just cross it all out and put down human. Dot.
Do you know what?
Not psychopath.
Yeah, do you know, for the most recent census, a lot of people did that. And you know, what do you identify as? You know, are you this, that, or the other? And I put human. I fully expected to get it back with a letter through the post, and I'm going to get reprimanded for this. Why did you do the census? Well, I didn't give them too much detail. That's why I did it. But yeah, human is what I put down. So interesting.
Well, the thing is, you see, the way I look on it, I'm pro-human. There are some psychopaths that do not harm humans. Well, okay, fine. We shouldn't have a witch hunt, but the ones that do harm humans, I discriminate against. I don't like them. I don't want them. I don't want them around us because they harm humans. So they have as much right to live on Earth as possible. And psychopaths come in all nationalities, religions, faiths, and whatever. Put them on an island away from us. We don't want them. You know, and this is the problem. Wherever there's a power vacuum, the psychopaths get in. But what we were going to talk about, Nathan, was how truth groups have been infiltrated and how hive minds they've become.
Well, I'll tell you what. Well, keep talking, because I'm going to pull my presentation up. I'm not going to put it on the screen because I don't want to affect it. But I'll go through what's on there, because I think this is going to be becoming relevant actually for the for what we're about to talk about. So just give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is that this idea of leadership. I mean, I used to. I don't like clubs and groups, but I went along to one because I felt so isolated during the what's happened over the last couple of years. You see, and it does. It isolates you. I felt terrible, and it served its purpose. But the trouble is that people, and I'm not condemning, don't get me wrong, were worshipping GB News, UK column, and little Tommy Tucker from Luton. I won't say
why? Yeah. I guess, do you know, some people, I can understand people looking for a hero figure or somebody to follow from a certain level of consciousness, at least. But some of the people that they select, they're just bizarre. You know, the whole Tommy Robbins. Yeah, are we allowed to say that even? I don't see the appeal. I really don't.
I don't. And someone that walks around draped in a flag of a foreign country, a country we're not allowed to criticise, to me, I'm sorry, I start to get red lights flashing in front of me and think, hang on, there's something not right here. But the thing is, every morning I used to wake up and put my phone on, and it'd be dinging like a bloody fire engine. Ding, 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 ding. And it was all what people have said on GB News, what Dr. So-and-so said here on UK column. But you see, when you look at, now I'm not saying UK column is controlled opposition or not. I don't know. So I'm not going to go where I don't know. I don't really watch it. But all I do know is that when I watch it, you get manic depression, because it's telling you how bad everything is, but no real solutions. And part of ideological subversion is to depress people and get people into such a depressed state that they'll grab at anything to get them out of that depressed state. And this is part of the subversion technique. And again, I'm not accusing, I'm just saying, think for yourself. I could be totally wrong. And I'm getting fed up with people saying this person's a sham, that person's a scam, and that this, that, and the other, a shill, that's the word. Well, I don't know. And there's lots of innocent people that's been accused of all kinds of things. But what's happening, the so-called truth movement, is so busy fighting against itself that they're not really looking, they're taking the eye off of what is really going on.
Yeah.
And
And so they've got us completely occupied with again going back to I think it was Cat Holly said about polluting the pond and things like that. While they are setting up these little obstacles for us all to bicker about and fight over, they can just step back and let us get on with it while they push their own agendas forward. And
hmm,
this whole look, they're okay. In terms of shills, yes, we know the shills in the movement. It's common sense, Okay, so I'm not going to name anyone because I don't think that'll achieve anything for this particular
hmm.
podcast. But yes, there are definitely shills here. We know that. We know that we're going to send agents in because that's what any intelligent opposition would do. But to go around accusing people of shills just simply because we don't agree with one of their opinions is absolute insanity.
Well, it is. I mean, there's one person I won't go in. I mean, for instance, I might scratch my nose or I might scratch my head, and they'll freeze frame that. That hasn't happened against me, and they might sort of and say, "Oh, that's a Masonic sign," and this is
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
just we can do that with anybody, really. This is the thing. There are some dodgy people, yes, I know. And I think there's some people that's being used but don't realise they're being used. I think that David Icke's heart is in the right
Yeah.
place, and I think he's being used without realising it.
Now, what this is an interesting one because I don't have any problem with Ike personally. I mean, I've met him, I've spoke to him, I've watched his material and his presentations, his talks for a very very long time now. And when people call him a shill, I'm thinking, well, how can he be a shill, right? He's practically, I would say, 90% of the truth movement, if not more, is they know what they know because of his work. Largely, I'm not saying solely because of his work. I'm saying that he's had a massive
Mm.
impact. So why would he present all of these facts and figures and quotes and bits of information here and there and give us these? I'm not even going to say theories at this point because a lot of what he presents is it's evidence based. He will present them as, look, this is a thing, I can prove it. He said it. There's the document that proves it. Why would he be voluntarily a shill? I don't understand that. It's the same as people say that Jordan Maxwell as well. Oh, he was a shill. Oh, rest his soul. I hope he's found peace. But they accuse him of being a shill because he knew Freemasons. Well, okay, then that clearly makes him a shill, right? Not. I mean, what kind of consciousness accuses somebody of being a shill because of people going to these organizations and people and figuring it out as opposed to listen to somebody else on a a YouTube video or whatever, as if they're
Well,
the expert and authority on everything. They're not.
you're right. I mean, for example, you or I could, although I don't like public transport, could be sitting on a train
Oh, it's horrible.
and
Don't use it.
yeah, seriously, I would rather walk than go public
Hmm.
transport. And we could be sitting on a train, and some I don't know, anybody could be come and sit next to you, take a picture, and they say, "Oh, they're sitting next to I don't know, a rapist or a must be
Yeah,
friends with them or something like that." But you see, what's got me with David, I think the BBC did a hatchet job on him because that thing when he was dressed in mauve, was it or whatever, with that Wogan interview, they did a
yeah,
hatchet job on him. That was definitely a hatchet job to make it look so that anybody that's got any views that are different to the norm, oh, they follow David Icke, they're a bit nutty, they're a conspiracy theorist and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And
It's instantly putting them in the same grouping as people that we're not necessarily agree. Yeah. I'll come back to that because I've got a load of material for this
well,
actually.
it's a bit like for 200 years, we knew how to cure scurvy. But anybody that suggests scurvy, that's why they're called the British limeys, because we had introduced limes. It was a vitamin C deficiency, and they
Yeah,
introduced limes onto ships, and it's so now they knew that for 200 years. But scientists that came forward and said, "Look, get out of it," and all that sort of thing. But it was known about because the South
yeah.
Sea Islanders didn't get scurvy when they went on long voyages. Why? Because they took fruit and that with them. But the other thing that where David Icke went off the tracks is when he knew that South African chap who was well in with the CIA, and he started talking about very strange things. And I think he was led off the beaten track again.
Interesting.
I think that there were. I can't remember the bloke's name, some very strange name he had, but he knew Bush Senior and things like that. So I think that he was invited into this to be made to look like a bit of a twit. And I think that this is, and I think he's innocently been led into these things, but his heart is in the right place and he's generally on the right course,
Yeah.
and I do believe that. And a chap who really does know his stuff, and he should come on this show again soon, is Mark Windows. He hasn't been on for a long time. He used to be on it. We used to be on regularly. Regarding Mark Windows,
yeah.
Did an excellent show on this very subject recently called The Remedy Grifters. Worth a listen. I will. Yeah, he used to come on regularly. I used to go on his show regularly, and we just I don't know, drifted. I suppose you do drift apart with people, then come back again, and that nothing. That's life. They twist all legal and lawful using the corporate commercial code. Yes. Now, what is it? Comms Beaumont. Sorry. Well, I don't mind apologising. It's all right. What is it? This is Louise. Don't step over their bar, and you're not in their play. Write notices and liens to the judges. Do not enter the courtroom. That's what the late great Robert Newman used to say. He said, "Don't go into their courtroom." He said, "Don't go into their playground. And there's a way of keeping out of their playground." He used to fight cases. There's a chap that was done for speaking on a mobile phone in his car when he didn't have a mobile phone. So, and he was trying to be framed, Sorry, trying to be, he was, this friend of his was getting framed. Their queen has fallen and their king is one move away from checkmate. We win, and very soon.
I disagree with that.
One does feel like that, doesn't one? Yes, But he always looks as if someone slipped a turd in his pocket. Have you noticed that? When he's walking along, he's always like, I think someone slipped a turd in my pocket. Ugh, yes, so it has. Now, there we go.
Well, that one is in and of itself an interesting topic to go into at the minute, isn't it? Because why are they broadcasting the fact that he has the big C when we know that they have cures for it, because we know that there's cures for it. I have several myself. I won't say what they are, but probably in everyone's kitchen you'll find at least one. But for them to broadcast it like this tells me that they're pushing another agenda. So is it to push? I've been told that there's a certain right,
and it was 2 days before it was announced.
Yeah. So is it that, or is it to get him out of the public view and to scupper him away to an underground location because they know something else is going to heat up? And again, this is just conjecture. I don't know this is going to happen.
And is it him?
Yeah. I mean, look,
because have you noticed?
He doesn't look well, does he? Let's be honest.
He doesn't. And have you noticed that? Look at Biden, for example. When it's seen pressed on the back of his neck, and it has all sort of. I mean, I pressed my neck. Hang on, like that. But if you've got like rubber, it presses in a certain way, and it looks like a rubber mask. Because I don't think Biden's alive. Actually, I think it's just actors that's acting the part.
Well, there's certainly a lot of different versions of him, which tells me that something's not quite right there. But either way, I mean, look, even if that is Biden, like, let's assume it is, just for the sake of argument. Why would the Americans deliberately select somebody who clearly has Alzheimer's or something similar to that as their president? I mean, doesn't that just tell you that their nation is sick? I mean, ill. Because for them to do that and throw it into everyone's faces, it's sending a message across.
Was he selected though? Because I think it's all rigged.
Yeah, I think selected is more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because he's up at the rostrum, and there's his aide standing next to him. It's a bloody terrible smell of shit. It's just looks around at his wife. Bloody hell! This is a bit. The old flies. He says, "Mr. President," off mic. He says, "Have you shit yourself?" So he says, "No, I haven't shit myself." Anyway, carries on speech.
and it smells getting really, really eye water. It's really on the nose by this time. Mr. President, I'll ask you again. Have you shit yourself? No, I ain't shit myself. But after a while, you see, it gets so bad that when he comes off the rostrum, he goes into the restroom, as they call it. He says, Mr. President, he says, do you mind dropping your, how is it? They have torn trousers over there. It's your pants. Do you mind dropping your pants? Because I think this is a security issue. Yeah, okay. So he drops his pants. This is great pile of shit then. He said, I thought you said you didn't shit yourself. He said, oh, I thought you meant today. That was yesterday. So, that was a terrible one, isn't it? this show is really declining, isn't it? It's
you're debasing us, man. It's absolutely debased material, man.
Yeah, it's just.
But on that, isn't that? I don't know. I'm only hearing this from secondhand sources, but apparently he did do that.
What, shit himself?
Yeah, in public.
I don't know whether he shit himself in public. Did he?
I don't know. That's what I've been told. And again, I'm not saying that's truth or fact. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. But
the best one though was Ronald Reagan falling off the sleep in front of the Pope. So. I've never actually seen the film, but people said he did. He nodded off. So, wake up, Ronald.
I've never seen a film with him in it, to be fair.
Yeah, Nancy nudged him once, and he said, God bless America. Now, actually, out of all the presidents, I don't think Ronnie Reagan was too bad, really.
Was he a good actor, though?
No, as a president, that's his best part.
I was going to say, he's playing a part when he's in. Yeah, absolutely.
But was it a lot of vulnerable people? This Paul Green losing money through bad advice on common law.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I've got a bit of a sore head over certain things on common law. I mean, like I said, look, I looked into it and I figured, okay, what's the worst that can happen? Let's give it a shot. And yeah, it gets you into a lot of trouble, and you end up paying the debt anyway, whether you like it or not, whether you turn up to court or not. They know what they're doing. Their legal teams know what they're doing, and they've got a hell of a lot more money than you do to play around with. So I would just say to anybody doing this common law thing, look, if do a little bit of digging and make sure you can afford it, and if you really want to push it, make the acceptance that you may very well end up behind bars for doing it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be prepared that if you're gonna do it, at least accept that could be one of the outcomes. Yeah.
Well, not only that, if you're up against them, and it's true what Robert Newman said. He said, "Don't go into their playground. Don't go into their court."
Yes,
there's a way of getting out of it. You're really, and putting it bluntly, you're like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Up against them.
Yeah.
You really, you see. Again, these people they're doing all day, every day. You're not. You're a stranger to it. Yes. I mean, you think of the skills that you've got in your profession, what you do, and things like that. You're doing it all day, every day. You get good at it.
Yeah.
So if a lawyer come up to you wanting to know about your skills, you could just wipe the floor with him. And I'd like to believe it's similar to myself. We're all skillful in different ways, and they are skillful in their ways, and they'll wipe the floor with you. Unfortunately,
I agree with you.
Cat says, thumbs up for the show, everyone. Oh, bless you. That's very kind. Thanks, Cat. That's very, very good of you. Thank you.
Motivational officer.
That's it. Fockham Hall. What should we say? Publicity, as a senior publicity officer. Yes.
Yeah, that works.
Only me that gave it a like so far.
No, that's not true. I've given it a thumbs up, or at least I think. I've given it a thumbs up. There's 3 on there. According to that.
Okay. I'll tell you what gets me, when at the end of the show, I quickly look how many people have watched. Now, there'll be 40 people in chat, and it says there's something like 20. Because the figures are going up and down like a tart's drawers. Also, YouTube, they keep omitting, you write an answer. Someone said they write an answer, or they put something in the comments, and suddenly, bang, it disappears. And if that happens, go straight over to BitChute channel, comment in BitChute. And that's what John from Siam has to do, because he can't comment in YouTube. So he does it on my BitChute channel. So it's quite friendly there. It's exactly the same as here. Well, apart from the censorship, there's no censorship there. Zora B. Hello, Zora B. Evening, Eric, panel and chat. I'll be listening. Well, that's good.
Fantastic.
So your camera's bleeding missing as well. Perhaps these cameras are disappearing somewhere. There's a conspiracy about it.
Yeah, I am a little bit concerned as to why computers appear to be having, let's say, freezing issues, and it seems to be a common thing at the minute. So cameras aside, well, don't worry, I'll be back on. I'll haunt everyone's visions at some point.
Well, my computer went titties up. I'm putting it bluntly. And tonight, when I put this computer on, because I'm a bit of a sort of a petrol head. This is the worst. Could this be the problem? Why females are going? Oh God, no. I have a problem with I can't seem to rate the right female. Is that I like cycling. I'm a bit of a petrol head. I do like cars. I'm a bit of a computer nutter.
Yeah, but which one's the most expensive these days?
Yes. But cheapo computers and cheapo bikes. Right, it says here, why is my memory of Ceylon, this is Paul Mohammed, Ceylon on maps when I was a child changed to Sri Lanka and the landmass is now different. It is now to the right when it was below. That's what I recall. You got a good point there. Well, you look at the map of Hertfordshire, you don't see Fockham on there, do you?
Shocking.
Think about it. You got
clearly Mandela.
Great Britain, and you've got Hertfordshire, not there's nowhere that says Fockham. So there we go.
I've always just what he's on about there. There are some anomalies that you can look at actually geographically, but again, is this something that they've tinkered around with knowingly because they know that people are going to jump on it, or is it a misprint, or is it have images been inverted? I don't know for that one, but I've always known it as Sri Lanka, but I know obviously Ceylon is where it gets its name from. So
it's like Malaysia. It used to be Malaya. The British fought in Malaya. It's not Malaysia.
There's a lot, isn't there? Burma.
Yeah.
Thailand. What was Thailand called previously? But
was it Siam?
Siam, yeah, Siam. So
that's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Well, my granddad used to say, Orgiston. We say no, it's Oddiston. Well, poor chap, he died, and several years later somehow we came across it, and it used to be called Odgiston. So it's always correcting him,
I think you were on about this with Chris last week, weren't you? Because Chris makes it sound like a foreign country down there, and I'm thinking, well, I've really got to go and scope it out,
Wow. As I say, I got me out, I got me straw. But by the way, I might be in time for this. I think I better give a plug. Where is it now? But you can't find it. I've probably taken it off by now. Where is it gone? No, it's gone. Oh, solid. No. Well, all I've got left here is the Prime Minister of Fockham. That's Roger Ring the cat. His first name is Roger, and his surname is Ring. You see,
absolutely.
And he likes to be known as Roger Ring the cat because a lot of senior officials throughout the world like Roger Ring the cat, apparently. So there we go. There's nothing rude in that. What I just said, I mean, people are making things out.
People just make up anything these days.
I know,
can't possibly see any references to anything wrong there at all.
Right. Well, hang on, I've lost myself there. Where am I? Yes, the agenda is to make us homeless. So play with these common law grifters. They will ensure it for you. Yes, because the bedroom tax when that came in. Now they're saying about compulsory purchasing people who's got a second house or people who've left their houses derelict. So
clearly that'll apply to politicians and bankers then, right?
Precisely, yes. And then it'll become, if you're a single person in, say, a 3 or 4 bedroom house, then, that's it. I hope it doesn't come to that. But, you never know. But round where I live, if you take in someone from Ukraine, you don't have to pay extra council tax. Isn't that amazing? So if you took in an ex-serviceman who's homeless, you'd have to pay extra council tax. but you can take a Ukrainian in. I mean, I've got nothing against Ukrainians or not against anybody. I'm thinking of the principles of it, because my attitude, you look after your own first and look after the other people afterwards. So,
Yeah, they're
I mean,
not
in
doing
a
a very
family,
good job at that.
you know, and now what we got here, Eric, you should have been a stand-up comedian. Well, my three uncles were stand-up comedians. And now we got here, Cat Holly, I really miss Richie's show, but he's changing his broadcast time, and my change of job has made it very difficult for me to listen live. I'll still throw him a few quid every month, though. And we miss you on chat, Robert. Yes. But Robert is working very, very hard. He's like most of us sort of freelance. We got to sort of find work now. Robert Dorr, I did much prefer the 5 to 7, but I guess he has to consider family, dogs, etc., and his own downtime. Expect he appreciates a few quid. Yes.
Just for clarification here, are we talking about Richie Allen?
Yes.
Interesting. So I've got to be careful how I say this, right? So I used to listen to Richie Allen quite a lot, and I considered his work very fulfilling, worthwhile, and even necessary. And so for many, many months, especially during kind of 2019 and 2020, I put quite a significant sum of money into his bank account. I was noticing, though, that every time I sent him an email, I never got a reply. And the last time I sent him an email, which is a couple of years ago now, it bounced back as if I'd been blocked. And I thought, right, okay, well, something's clearly gone amiss there. So I'd love to know what the hell's gone on there. But it did kind of send me the wrong vibe. And I thought, okay, well, I'll stop sending the funds across, because clearly, a courtesy email now and then doesn't hurt. But there you go. But
Well, precisely. I mean, I endeavour to answer every comment and email. I have to admit, sometimes I'm a little bit lax, or sometimes miss one. I did miss quite a few, and I looked in the behind the scenes on it. What do they call it? The studio, I think it is, on YouTube, and I thought, oh, there's a couple of comments I haven't answered for about 2 or 3 months. People must have thought ignorant sod, but that was just a slip, it was an accident. But anyway, I did answer them in the end. I'm with you on David Icke, Nathan. This is Chris the Gardener.
Good. It's nice to hear that, because he seems to be getting dragged through the muck a bit lately from truthers, and I'm thinking, well, it's a bit unfair, really. Look, we speak as we find, right? This is the best we can do from a neutral perspective. We speak as we find. Ike is one of the first people that I came into contact with in this movement, and in the beginning, I was mesmerized by what he was saying and the way he was pronouncing. He's very good. I've met the guy. I've seen, I've been to see him on a couple of occasions. I've been to Iconic Studios. I find no fault with him. I don't look, my radar isn't pinging when I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just naive. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. From my personal perspective, I've got no problem with the guy. I think he's very valuable, and I think what he does is essential. But yeah, that's
yes.
personal opinion.
I think that, people have said about Richard D. Hall, they like him, don't like him, and all that, and whatever. I've met him. I go by gut feeling. He comes over as being a very straight person.
Yeah.
He shook my hand. I've shaken his hand several times. I've met him several times. And, I just judge whether someone, they think, ooh, I don't like you. If a hairy-ass politician knocks on your door, no, I get this cold sort of...
I'd rather have the Jehovah's Witnesses knock at the door, I'll tell you.
Well, that's right. Mind you, if you sort of ask them in, say, do you want a cup of tea? They say, I don't know what to say, because we have never got this far before.
Hey, do you know what? We need to do a show specifically on the witnesses, because I was never a witness. I'll just put that out there now. But I have had a lot of interactions with them, and I was one of these people. I've always been interested in history, religion, spiritual, all of it, right? And on 2 separate occasions throughout my life, I've had interactions with the witnesses, and I've come to know them. I I don't know whether saying I'm fond of them is quite correct, because I know that there is a significant amount of mind control in there.
Hmm,
And I know, well, I don't agree with any religion, point blank, but
I know.
they are a very, very interesting group. So maybe that's one for another show.
It might be interesting. Mind you, it's a way of upsetting people who are going into religion because I
Well,
like to.
God of offending people.
Oh no, but I mean, I like to. I mean, my attitude is it's like for other people to judge, but I like to believe that I'm a spiritual person because I do believe there's an energy, but I don't know what that energy is.
Yeah.
I really
I
don't
mean,
know, and I just keep an open mind, but I can't sort of. I mean, if I was going to lean towards any belief, it would probably be Buddhist, I suppose, but I don't know much about it. But I don't really go down those roads because I always think I'm a bit of anything really, and providing you try and make the world a happier place, I think that, or a nicer place, I think that's the only way you can really go forward in many
yeah.
ways. But and I think also building wisdom is the most important thing. And this brings me
Which
on to
that's the one that you've got to go through a purge. I mean, building wisdom is probably one of the hardest things you can do, because it comes with a hell of a lot of pain and suffering.
it does. Paul Mohammed said there is a reason why they keep old people away from young people by using schools and old people's homes. Imagine
Mm.
if we mixed them together.
Yeah,
Spot
what
on.
would they learn? Yeah,
Look what happens in tribes. If the younger ones don't understand something, they'll go along to the elders. And the
yeah,
elders will, and the elders are very well respected. I mean, look at. I mean, we've got this. Most of the North American Indian tribes were savage, ruthless sods. Not all, not all,
mm,
and some of them though were, shall we say, more moderate. But it would be the elders that would come out to speak to the strangers or to speak to the white man or to speak to the settlers. And I know that in Canada, that the French got on quite well with the natives of Canada. They traded with each
mm.
other, and then the British came along, and that that was the end of that. But the thing
Yeah.
is,
We do tend to have that effect in history, don't
we
we?
do, don't we? I don't know quite
Yeah,
what it is. But I think, but what it is, you see, there's a difference between English and British because the Normans were the British have adopted that, and the Normans are the aristocracy. So when you say
yeah.
British, you're talking about the aristocracy, not the English. And I think that I don't like being put into a category or anything like that. But when someone says I'm British, no, 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 I'm not British because I'm not the aristocracy. Charlie Boy is
Mm.
British because he's part of the aristocracy, but a Norman. And it should be remembered that after the Battle of Hastings, 1066, the English were left unburied for 100 years. They weren't
Oh,
allowed to bury the dead as a warning. And it's,
I didn't know that. That's
yes,
quite sinister, isn't it?
yes, that was in Battle of Hastings. And also, the English fought shoulder to shoulder with other tribes from Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and that was the problem. There was a language problem
Mm.
because they broke rank, and also we'd actually fought up near someplace up north, and they marched all the way down to battle in Hastings, and they were exhausted, and they
Wasn't it
fought.
Stamford Bridge? Is it
That
Stamford
was it,
Bridge? In it?
Stamford Bridge. Yes, that's right. So they were exhausted when they come down, and they had to fight against the Normans.
Mm.
And the only reason why we lost, we was on the higher ground, which of course you'd always, and
Yeah,
we're fighting down. But what the Normans did, they ran,
feigned
and
retreat.
that is a trick. And of course, we broke rank, and because there was language difficulties, they didn't understand because of different. They didn't strictly keep there. They should have kept in place. They didn't.
Yeah,
They came broke rank, and their cavalry came round and just carved them up, and
yeah.
that was it. That was the end of it. But our history would have been very different if the Normans had never invaded. Very different.
It the norm. Actually, the whole period has always fascinated me, because if you look at, let's say, Norse history, or if you want to call them Vikings for this, it'll do. You look at the amount of range that the Vikings had, and the impact they had in various ways, right? So what we're on about there in 1066, you had effectively three Viking factions, right? So you had the ones that were settled in England. You had the one that was invading from it was Denmark at the time,
Yeah,
Harald Hardrada. Am I getting it? Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Hardrada from the north, and then you had the Normans, which were the Norsemen that settled in Normandy under I forgot his name. It'll come back to me.
oh, no, that was oh, hang on.
I forgot his name.
I've forgotten his name because you know he was only 2 generations away from Viking, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Right, we'll come back to that because that's
Yeah.
going to bug me. I'm going to have to
Don't
go and
worry,
find
think of
out.
something else that comes. I can't
Yeah.
think of it anymore.
But if you look at that, look at the range. So they got even to Sicily and southern Italy, Scotland, England, bits of France. So you got Denmark, Sweden, obviously, obviously the Nordic lands,
Mm.
and then if you take it further east, then they went into the Ukraine, set up Kiev, and practically the entirety of that particular region was Viking at one point. And then pressing further south from there into Constantinople. I mean, the Viking range, considering they were alleged barbaric, unsophisticated peoples, they certainly knew how to conquer, didn't they?
Well, also there's evidence that they went to North America as well. There is evidence of that.
Greenland, yeah, was it Greenland and
I went to
Newfoundland?
Greenland, yes, but they went to Newfoundland. They reckon and they found artifacts of the Vikings actually in North America, in New England and places like that. So it's questionable whether it's true or not, but no, I mean we've all got a bit of Viking in us. I've got Viking ancestry for 2 reasons. One is I've got crappy teeth, and the second one I've got this trigger finger thing, which is a sign of a Viking. And and Norton's toe, and Robert, he's got a similar toe, and he's probably got that from somebody that was in his family tree that had links with Vikings. So this is it. These are sort of traits that come through on you on it. But I actually looked into my family tree, and my mother's side was French Cornish, and my father's side is German, and a little bit of Welsh, but mainly German. So I'm a bit of a clout as well.
You're a mix of a lot of I'm still sorry. I'm looking on the internet at the minute because the Viking who was responsible for setting up Normandy, his name escapes me and it's driving me up the wall. Rollo. Rollo the Viking.
Ronald the Viking.
No, Rollo, like Rollo. Well,
it'd been good if his name was Ronald, because you don't have a Ronald the Viking.
Ron the Viking.
Yeah, hello, Ronald. Can you imagine? Ronald the Viking.
Ronald the Viking. It's like Roger Roman, isn't it?
Hello, Roger. I was actually thinking about that aeroplane film today. Whereas was it Roger and over Roger over Roger over? That was brilliant the way they did it. Okay, Captain Roger. Okay, Roger, Captain Rover.
So they're just doing that to taunt the pilots who keep them busy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but no, I think that when you think of it, what's this hard work finding a politician with a hairy button these days, Chris? Beauty parlours around Westminster. But they are hairy arse, aren't they? They come round.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's a little niche market. Somebody can make some money there going trimming the hedges.
You got an invite, Nathan, from Chris. It is a foreign country, Nathan. Come visit, my friend. I'd be happy to show you around. Yeah, but
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, but would your visa allow it? To get into.
Well, I mean, I don't speak the language according to Chris. I mean, what he was saying last week, it seems like it's a. I'd need a passport, definitely.
I actually worked with a bloke. It's a bit of a laugh. He came from Suffolk, not Norfolk. And he said, "You piss more than me round." He said another one. He said, "Oh, he said, I just had a donkey." What? I just had a donkey. And a donkey is a loaf of bread where they take the inside out and fill it with meat, and it's called a donkey.
Oh, right.
Oh, I just had a donkey. Well, it's strange sexual desires.
Especially if you say you're stuffing the donkey. I mean, that puts a whole new
That's right.
connotation, doesn't it?
Well, this character apparently, he was a electrical designer, electrical engineer. You see, in building industry, and he used to work the other side of the office because it was a sort of mixed office. You had architects, engineers, and electrical engineers, a lot. So anyway, he's a right comedian, this character. And when work got a bit thin, I mean, he came from Suffolk, and he said work was a bit thin in the early 80s, and he got this phone call from an agent that said, I try and speak in a Suffolk accent. He said, "Are you all right, boy? Got a nice contract for you up here, you know." What is it? He said, "Well, it's working for Lotus, you see." So, he said, "But I'm in the building industry." "Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter." He said, "Well, they just want somebody." He said the pay was so crap. I mean, it was beyond crap. But he thought, well, it's just up the road. I might as well just take it. It gives me a bit of money. So he said, he went there, and he was tracing bicycle drawings.
Yeah.
Bicycle, he said it was easy money, really. He said, didn't have to design anything. He said, just tracing drawings. And he said, so really, it was but for a whole rope. He said, bored out my skull. He said, I was really puzzled by this.
Yeah.
And what it was for the Sinclair C5, because Lotus helped to design it, didn't they?
I'm gonna. I wouldn't have known that. No. So what was he doing? Like, were they creating wireframes of it or something? How does that work?
Well, no, what he was doing is it was actually made of bicycle components, and I think it was a motor from a Hoover vacuum cleaner was in it, and it was an electric car, because Clive Sinclair came up with this idea of an electric car. It's called a C5, and it was a joke that people said, well, it looked like an invalid carriage, and they'd say, I'm not an invalid. Well, you soon will be one if you use it.
That's right, okay.
It was like a bathtub on wheels, and people
So see, that's clean driving.
Yeah, it's a car battery had inside, so you had the lead acid go.
Is this the first car wash?
Sorry,
the first car wash.
And that was the first human wash, I think it was, because as you go along, I mean, I remember, I think William Woolard test drove it, this C5, and it was a rainy day, and a lorry went past. It just it looked like a drowned rat went through a puddle. No, it's like I guess you don't remember the C5, so
no, not really.
No, if you look it up, C5, you want a good laugh. Clive Sinclair came out with it. He didn't last very long. It's a complete failure, Now it says here, Paul Mohammed, is chat controlled? No. Well, I think YouTube control it. I mean, if you say anything outside bum tit or something like that, they might be a bit upset, or mention anything about. I'll mention anything about that.
Well, I've completely forgotten about the chat because I put the presentation up on one screen, so I've completely missed that. So I've not kept up with it. So.
Oh well. But no, the thing is, what we're going to say is about the back to what we were talking about, these idols, where we're conditioned to worship idols. I mean, when we were at school, it's always you had to be part of a team. Number one, you had to have prefects who were senior people. You had to have a leader that tells you, and you had to be part of a group. You're in a form. You're in this. You're in that. In that. Why? And it's to condition you into being regimental. You're part of a regiment. And the first things that they say, I've never been in the army, but apparently one of the first thing they said when my dad was conscripted was, you're not here to think, you're here to do. That's
Cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder, yes. And I think that is the problem. But with truth groups, I mean, people generally, I think the problem with groups generally is if they whittle down. I mean, I don't like clubs or groups, so I keep away from them. But if they whittle down to a clique, then they become like what do they call it? A dysfunctional family. And a dysfunctional family always has to have a scapegoat so that it keeps the group bonded. And the scapegoat was, and when that died, anything else. And when I look back, I didn't lose friends. I gained wisdom because the people were so fickle that now I'd be so able to see straight through them, but I couldn't at the time. And I think that's what you do get, and this would happen if we did away with local councils and everybody in their local areas sorted things out for themselves. You get the thickest of the thick rising to the top who are ruthless, and people will start to worship them. And anybody that stood up to them would be an outcast to the local community, and nobody would talk to them. So this is what you get if people stand up for themselves and the individualists. And this is why it wouldn't work with the mindset we've got now, where the psychopath and the egotist gets to the top, because that is what would happen. I'm pretty sure that would happen. And then you'd find your local, what you'd pay would go up from 25 to 30 to 50 to 60 to 70, start going up, because the egotist would know best when they don't know best. So
No, but they've got the loudest voices, though, in a lot of, and people tend to listen to the loudest voice as opposed to the most reasonable voice, and this is where we go wrong.
Well, that's right. And also you find educated people kind of worshipping them because they don't want to step out of line. They're like orchestra conductors. And they're conducting the orchestra. And if somebody plays a bum note, they're outcasts. Everyone's got to play in synchronicity. And I think that is the problem. This is what I don't like with groups. I really don't like it. You know, everybody has to sort of buckle down and no, not my scene, not anything like that. And you can be the most innocent person in the world, but if somebody goes against you, they can turn other people against you, and whatever they say, that's it. And this is what happened to me. But the thing is that it is a real. Well, I think things happen for a reason, and it taught me that it's made me much more wise and sadly more distrusting. I used to be too trusting. I don't trust people so much now.
No, but it's still a necessary thing to go through. I mean, if you're too trusting, then that to me tells me that there's without sounding horrible, that's almost lack of discernment. And I would say a lot of people, including myself, we have this problem that we've had a paradigm shift, and however you want to look at it, there has been a paradigm shift. And with all the new information that's been thrown at us and all these new ideas, and we've got to sift through that shit.
Yeah.
We've got to figure out what's what, and sometimes we're going to get drawn into the wrong direction. But it's the ability to step back from it and say, "Whoa, hang on a minute, this is wrong," or "This is taking us in the wrong direction," or that's it, But often the only way that you do that is through traumatic experiences like the one that you're referring to there, which is to basically, it stops you for a reason.
It does. I'm glad. I'm absolutely, in hindsight, I'm glad I went through, because what's reinforced it is my grandfather. As a grandfather, he died a couple of years before I was born, but what my father told me about him, and he said, "Don't trust no one until they've proven their loyalty to you." And the second one is always tell the truth, because you've got nothing to worry about, because the truth always comes through. And I've told the truth right the way through. I've got nothing to worry about. If the person lies, they've got to have a good memory, and they can always make a slip. I'm not worried about slips, because I can't make a slip because I tell the truth. So that's it.
I'll tell you a little anecdote for this. So I used to work in, let's say a local bureau, and the boss that was there, I always got on with her, but a lot of the people in there, they'd be terrified of her. And I'd say, why is everyone scared of you? And she says, I don't know, they just are. Anyway, she would, if somebody put something, stepped out of line, or they'd done something wrong, or they'd made some notes that were incorrect, or they hadn't done, for whatever reason, she'd reprimand them, and she'd just straight out and say, look, bang, you shouldn't have done that. This is what anyway. And I said, well, how come you always go easy on me? She said, I'll tell you why. She said, because you always tell the truth. She said, even when you know you've done something wrong, or that you're going to be in hot water for it, you're in bother kind of thing. She said, you'll come to me and tell me I've screwed up. She said, there's no I know where I can stand with you. I know that you're always going to be honest no matter what. And she said, and that's why I go easier on you. And she said, because I know that you're always going to be honest. And she said,
Just
and
found that.
I'd like, yeah,
But I'll tell you what does screw you up is shock. See, I thought I was having a nervous breakdown, wasn't it? The shock. Because shock plays tricks with your mind. What the bloody hell? When
it
you're
stops you
totally
faulting.
shocked,
Well, yeah,
it
it
stops
can be
normal thought
horrible.
process. But again, it gives you wisdom. Shock gives you wisdom.
Yeah.
Because you go, I'm now a different person because that wisdom that built up, and I'm less trusting, very much less trusting than I used to be.
I
And
would say that was a good thing. Unfortunately, again, the process maybe not so good, but the outcome definitely.
I think with yourself, the experiences that you've had, you've
Yeah.
probably gained far more wisdom. It's not nice, but you've got to go through these things. And but I think they happen for a reason. I always do think these things happen for a reason. And I for a short time I was distrusting everybody, but then I've now mellowed and I thought, right, hang on, let's look at this logically. What have I learned? Things like that. But but we got here Paul Mohammed. Yes, Eric, shock. Yeah, shock does incredible things to your mind.
It apparently promotes learning, doesn't it? So if you shock your mind into a state that it's not familiar with, then effectively you're forcing it to learn something new, and there's new pathways developing there. So shock is a
Was
stimulant almost to learning.
when you shall we say you're out of your comfort zone, totally out of comfort zone. But if a similar situation happened again, I'd handle it. I'd be wise that it won't happen again because I don't. But if it ever did, I'll be wise and I know exactly what to do. But strangely enough, what I did was textbook anyway, because if you're ever in a situation like a kangaroo court situation, don't worry about saving face. Say anything, because you will be guilty whatever happens. So say anything.
Notice that.
And I just went into auto thing. I just kept apologizing all the time. And I got that from my childhood, because when I was being bullied, shouted at, I just keep apologizing. So my brain, I just went apologizing, and there's the door there. I want to get out that door quick. And that's it. And I can't even remember what I fully said, and also another thing that what happened in my childhood, which has helped me a hell of a lot. If somebody, you know the scene, was it from Full Metal Jacket, where going along and he's shouting, I could probably say in that, I could be standing there for an hour and somebody shouting at me, and it would, because I had it as a child, and in a similar situation, it's certainly helped me, because you kind of get out of body. You're not there. So there's the shell of you there, and you are just calmly. So somebody could be shouting and hollering at me, and I'd just be calmly just looking on and observing, thinking, right, okay, what's this? Whereas a lot of people can't do that. It wouldn't bother me because of what I went through as a child. So it was a bad thing, but on a good point, it's made me, as I say, was it a calm sea never made a good captain. So it's helped me from that. So it's certain things I can tolerate, which other people wouldn't. They'll be sort of distressed by it, but no, I'm not distressed. And trolls, they don't bother me because of that. And that just sort of bounces off. It doesn't. I don't know if it's called thick skin because I'm an extremely sensitive person, but it's a kind of I think it's a kind of mechanism that just goes into automatic. And it's surprising. It's like if you were, say, you were cornered by a gang of thugs, you'd be frightened, yes, but then that fear goes, and then you're thinking calmly, what should I do? How am I going to get out of this? What should I do? And I think that is something that this is all again part of wisdom that you build up through your life. This kind of wisdom, and I think nasty things happen to you as a learning process. So I don't look at anything as a disadvantage. I look at things as an advantage all the way through. You've lost friends, but they're not friends. You've gained wisdom. I lost what I thought were friends.
I must be very wise.
I've gained wisdom.
Yeah.
This is the thing, and that's why I look at it. I've gained wisdom, you don't deal with fickle people. You deal with real people, because real friends keep with you. Fickle people don't.
It used to be a case, Eric for Chris. I never know which one to go with. But it used to be a thing where I would be terrified of losing friends, right? So I would try, people pleasing essentially. But of late, it's just if somebody takes offence or so, it's just okay, on you go, bye bye. I've actually cut a few people out of my life over the last couple of years, just because of, I don't know. It's people seem to get stuck in a mindset of stubbornness almost. And I'm just no, I don't need that. I don't need that. Look, either learn or don't. But if you're not going to progress, if you're not going to, move your position and change and learn, and you're just going to keep repeating the same mantras over and over and over again, clearly you're not here to learn. And so you're going to bring me down as opposed to me helping you to come up. So it's now, yeah.
The vibes that you give off, the energy that you give off, if people can't pick up on those vibes and energy, they're not the sort of people you really want to know anyway. So goodbye. That's the way I look on it, because we give off certain frequencies and that, and you come up against people that you think are okay, but they're giving the wrong frequency. They're actually on a totally different frequency. Can't blame them. That's it. I mean, you think about it, you come up against people. I come against people and I think, oh, I don't like you. Oh, there's something odd about them. You can't. They're very friendly, but you think something not quite nice.
You kind of shackles them up, you put your guard up straight away, but you can't quite figure out what it is immediately. But 9 times out of 10, you figure it out in the end anyway. Often before it's too late, you'll figure it out and think, right, okay, I'm going to step back from this then. I don't tend to like that either, funnily enough, when you step back from things, just even for a breather, it's like, right, okay, let's reassess the situation, see where it takes us, and yeah.
It was like I said earlier, you've got the beam me up, Scotty moment and the ejector seat moment.
Yeah.
And the kangaroo call, it's an ejector seat moment. You don't say beam me up, Scotty. Bang out,
I mean, it's a very human psych. I mean, we are on about basic human psychology, but it does, in truther groups, and I use this when I say truther groups, my immediate mind is taken to the whole stand in the park setup, and I look at that and I just think, wow, some of these people. Oh God, it's almost like there's no maturity there. I mean, they might be older or it doesn't spiritual maturity, emotional maturity is on the floor. It's just they haven't progressed past a certain point. And I think, well, what is it, because they haven't had it tough enough that they've been allowed to keep that mentality going, and therefore they've not learned from it, and so they keep projecting their faults onto other people, and then, well, we've seen what happens as a consequence of that.
Well, I went to several truth groups afterwards, and I found, well, there was one I went to, I won't say where, I'll be very vague about it, where they were ragging some poor sod off. And I said, I was a new person there. I just went along in the middle of this park, and they're ragging this poor sod off. And I'm thinking, it's not very nice, it's giving me, this is very similar. And then when this kind of fella turned up, they thought I was terrible because I was talking to him.
Guilty by association.
They started to turn on me because I was talking to him, and I thought, weird. He seemed quite a reasonable character. He seemed pretty all right. So, and I think that then I went to another one, and they were similar. And I think like attracts like, and I'm not the type of person to be attracted to go to those sort of people.
The thing is, sorry, it's just when you said like attract like there. I mean, it does to a point, but then it seems to destroy itself.
I know, it's weird. It's something I'm really, because I mean, I was talking to Dr. Moss about this, or Professor Moss, not Doctor.
Is this Gloria?
Gloria, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And similar happened to a group she went to, and she didn't want to go back. She was really made to feel terrible there. And there's somebody I know down in Kent had problems as well, similar, and he didn't go back. It's very odd. I mean, I don't go to any groups or anything like that anymore. I won't. But I think groups are very dangerous. They can be
coming from an ignorant standpoint. If they're uninformed and immature. When I say immature, I don't mean playing daft games or I mean emotionally immature or mentally immature, just for, spiritually. If they're not there, it's not going to last long. The group will self-destruct.
Well, that's right. It does self-destruct. It's sad in a way, and I think what it is, I think someone in chat has summed it up absolutely perfectly, because uh, the dysfunctional family has become dysfunctional society. Talk mental health and make them feel safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have become a dysfunctional society. We really have. I mean, I go down to my local town, which is about 3 or 4 miles away. It's market day, I go down the market.
Mm.
And once upon a time, you go down there and do shopping, come home, no problem. For the last, began at the end of last year and this year, with the exception of last week, every time I've gone there, I've had a beggar come up to me. It was
Really?
unheard of at one time, yeah. And they're normally smartly dressed. They're really good. And they're generally Eastern European or Middle Eastern. Skibby, do you think you my brother, I had one bloke, my brother, I need the money, I need some money, my brother, your brother. So I sort of, and he was quite smartly dressed, this bloke. Now, I mean,
all right,
I'll help anybody that's hungry. And, and I usually say, well, are you hungry? I'll buy you some food. Oh, no, I want the money. I thought, all right, that's it.
Right. So they're clearly not that hungry, right?
Yeah, they're not that hungry. Yeah, there was an Irish chap who was sleeping in a little, what do you call it, a boarded up shop in the doorway. Yeah. And I went over and I gave him some money. Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. It's much appreciated. I said, yeah, mate, I have some work, a bit stingy what I'm giving you there, good luck, and I knew he was going to buy food with that. He looked hungry. He really did,
Yeah.
But when you say, I'll buy you food, whoa,
Well, similar to what you did there, although I've not had that reaction, funnily enough. I usually buy them water, so I'll go. So if there's a Poundland nearby, I'll go and get them 6 or 8 bottles of water. I'll say, there you go, and in all cases, they've always been grateful for it, because I'm thinking, well, if you're genuinely homeless and on the street and you can't afford to live, which is a terrible bloody state of being anyway, this shouldn't even be happening. This is evidence of a sick society in and of itself. But I'm thinking, well, okay, if they're legit, then the one thing that they're going to be in need of is water above anything. I mean, warmth, obviously, but I thought, well, if they've got water, then they can sustain. So it's but I've not had the what you've just described there. So, no, I just want the money. So I mean, to be honest, whenever I've even food occasionally, I've gone and got them on McDonald's or a McDonald's voucher when they used to do that years ago. You'd get them on a bus ticket or something like that, and I'd just collect them up and go, there you go, free burger for you. And so I always, where I am at least, it had a positive outcome to that. They were always grateful for it, but I can quite imagine some of them are in it for drugs and. Well, I can understand it if the situation's bad, but
hey, it's all right. Hello, it's coming back. There we are. There'll be lights. But because I'm not Maltese, but I learned. My dad was in Malta during the war, and he learned a bit of Maltese, and he taught me. You see, so what I do in a situation sometimes when you get the ones that you realise that they're not really beggars, they're doing it. I just rattle off in Maltese. Go, Miss, it's my whole thing in here, Layla. Mush I have, and they're going. And they're still bloody well talking to you. Oh, we're going to meet the money. Mush off the bill, Morty. Maltese. And the other one is, what's it? Aeroplani talani adado. That means enemy aircraft are attacking the island.
You'd look if they replied to you, though. I was like,
Who knows Maltese?
I'll go and see cover straight away. Yeah. No.
So what the bleeding hell is he talking about? The other one, it's my whole thing into you later,
See, that would be divine irony if you did that and somebody came back and said, yeah, well, we're going to have to do something about this then.
What,
Obviously not in English, you know.
what, you've got a corkscrew up your bottom. What's that mean? But actually, Hadji's put an interesting one here. Chris, I've experienced the same thing bitching in truth groups. Egos get in the way, unfortunately. This is the big problem. And I know that up north, they've been infiltrated by Stop Oil, haven't they? A lot of these.
Yeah. Well, XR as they refer to themselves, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think they have to down here because I think GB News did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, that's again, without trying to call anyone shills or, you know, smear muck in anyone's direction. But yeah, I've heard some bad things about GB News and the likes.
Well, this is the thing, you know. I think egos are the biggest problem. Now we got here. This is interesting. Yes, groups. This is Paul Mohammed. Have leaders. We need individual ninjas, all separate. Yeah. What do you need a leader? I mean, look at the Yellow Vests. They were very successful, and there's no leader. Look at the Boers. They didn't really have leaders as such. I mean, but very, very good, you know.
I can't see that sentence without imagining a group, a load of people coming together in a park all dressed as ninjas, and they're all looking at each other as if to say, well, now what? But no, I like it.
Robert has summed this up perfectly. Groups
are
so very easy to co-opt and maneuver. And I agree with you here, Robert. The great Groucho Marx was spot on when he refused to join a club that would grant him membership. Yeah, he said, I'd never join a club that would give me membership. I'm the same. That would allow me to become a member. That was it. So I wouldn't join a club that would allow me to become a member. So, but no, I think that I think somebody once said to me, oh, you like cycling? Why don't you join a cycling club? Why? I'm quite happily cycling on my own. Thank you very much. I go where I want, stop where I want, piss motorists off when I want. You know, I mean, it's easy.
Yeah,
but why would I want to cycle along?
Cyclists do kind of have that reputation, so.
That's right. Why do I want to cycle along, seeing a load of other people's arses in front of me? No. Well, see a load of arses in front of me, I go and look at the House of Commons. You know, I mean, that's the thing. But I just don't get it. You know, it's I don't know. But mind you, when I'm a motorist, I don't like cyclists. You see, I'm sort of, is it schizophrenia? You know.
Split personality, definitely, isn't it? You know, when you're a motorist, you hate the cyclist, and when you're a cyclist, you absolutely detest the. Yeah, I can see that. Nothing wrong with that.
I must tell you, before we go, you know, when you've had a late night and you haven't had a good night,
frequently at the minute, but
you're not quite with it. Well, I was cycling up this cycle path once, and some unknown reason, I thought I was in my car. So I'm cycling along miles away, and I was a bit sort of. I shouldn't have gone out that day. When I got to the traffic lights to cross the road, which was a dual carriageway, I stopped, put my hand down to grab the handbrake, and I thought, hang on, there's no handbrake here. And suddenly went, bush. That must have thought, I bet he's bloody pissed on that bike.
See, this is why you need your sleep, children.
That's right.
It says he who likes to stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning at the minute, but there you go. I've got good reason for that, actually. There you go.
Now, Hadji is sort of something. Be good turning up at an electric bike club in a C5. You ready to get off here? You must have a look at a C5. You'll be on the floor with laughter.
Okay.
It's a joke thing. It really is. Anyway, at this point, I think we've come up to our time. Thanks for joining us, Nathan, Von Lucas, and thank you everybody for joining us in chat and everybody out there in the big audience and that. Thank you very much. And any ideas in the comments for next week's poll? You know, who's the most obnoxious MP? Could be one, couldn't it? Who's the most obnoxious,
Oh
irritating?
no, that would be too difficult. There's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
I mean, that one you'd have to really, really narrow it down to like a certain period in history or something.
Oh, yes, it'd be difficult, wouldn't it? And oh, hang on, what's this Paul Mohammed said? He said, I used to be a cyclist, but I stopped in the S because motorists became irate. Pressure from the government. Anyone? Okay.
Yeah, I know what he's on about there because the road rage is through the roof at the minute, and there's a hell of a lot of accidents occurring.
Well, no, very polite to me, motorists. They say, look, you've got two wheels still on your bike. They do that. And then they say, there's just one of you. They've got no asylum seekers hanging on the back of your bike. So that's good of them. And they call me Richard Head for some unknown reason. I just don't understand. It's odd, isn't it? But they're very
It's an
nice.
enigma.
Yes, yes. I don't know why. You know, even neighbours saying, look at that, Richard Head going down the road.
As you're reaching for your handbrake.
I don't have false teeth for my bike. You know, actually, I'll tell you what I'm upset about. I went the bike shop the other day. I won't say which one. It's a big main known one. There's hardly any drop handle bars or bars. Drop handlebars now on bikes. What's happened? You know, that's a bike with drop handlebars. A bike that's upright is for old men, isn't it? Really, you know. I mean,
Yeah. I have noticed that they've brought back a few of the old style bikes, and I just look at them and think, no, I don't like that.
no, I like drop handlebars. I mean, because you got flexibility. You can get down when there's a headwind, and you know, it's
More control. You feel as if you're more in control when you're looking down over it, as opposed to with the handles. Yeah, I can't see the appeal for that.
no, I can't. And also, you know, when you get people in the way, you can kick them up the arse easier as well. So, I mean, you know, it has a lot of advantages. No, I don't do that. I feel like doing it, I don't do it.
You're developing a new reputation here, Chris.
Yeah. We've had a thank you very much, everybody, and I say thanks, Nathan, and thanks everybody else, and see you next same time, same place next week. When I've actually found the out thing. Where is it? Where are we going? Oh, here it is, the outro. So thank you very much, everybody, and remember, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.